in before because you were on the highway commuting from work. And hopefully this year, because we are all virtual and most of us are staying home, you're able to join us. So I like finding the silver lining in things. And that's one of the silver linings for me, is being able to participate more in our school events, like our board meetings and our PTA meetings, because I can do that from the comfort of my own home. All right, I'll give it just a couple of more minutes. We'll start at 5:35 on the dot. We still have more people coming in. Let's see. Okay. Oh, if this program is also being cast on YouTube, so you can also, if your internet connection is a little weird, you can also view this on YouTube. And on the screen, it is YouTube/Albany KALB. So we are in webinar mode, so only the panelists have a camera. Everyone else does not have a camera, and we cannot see you. But that was a good question. Thank you. Okay, it is 5:35. Thank you all for coming tonight. And we are in for a nice, I think we are in for a nice program. We have students participating, we have guest speakers, and I am just excited to be able to have this program despite the pandemic. So welcome. This year's theme, as you see, is Black Excellence, and we wanted to highlight the attributes and contributions of Black people in our community, and just shine a light on all the good things that we do, all the dynamic and terrific things that we do, and also give you some inspiration, especially to our young people who need to see people that look like them doing the things that they aspire to do themselves. So, welcome. Oops. Sorry, just one second. We'll start with the Black National Anthem. I'm going too fast. What is happening? So this is one of the things that I was afraid of with my PowerPoint presentation. Okay. And when you are working from home, you get interruptions by your children. So just one moment, please. It doesn't matter. She does that to me all the time. So our first selection, or our first presentation, will be of two of Albany students, Nico and Imani, singing the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing.
We can't hear it, Linda. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod. Felt in the day that hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place on which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears have been watered. We have come shedding our path through the blood of the slaughter. Out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our star is cast.
Wow, thank you guys so much. That was wonderful. Thank you. And our next presentation is a slideshow just highlighting our local heroes and stars. And oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Our local Bay Area Black excellence. So here we go. And I gave away the surprise at the end. That was our finale slide. So actor and activist Danny Glover, born in San Francisco, attended San Francisco State University and participated in the 1968 student-led protest that led to the first Black Studies program at a university. Etta James, she was born in Los Angeles, but she settled and planted roots here in San Francisco in the Fillmore district when she was just 12 years old. And so we are proud of our Bay Area transplants as well. And then the wonderful and great Dr. Maya Angelou moved to Oakland with her family when she was 14 years old. She attended the California Labor School, and she made history by becoming San Francisco's first Black female streetcar conductor. Congressman Ron Dellums, also born in Oakland. He was elected to 13 terms as the U.S. House of Representatives. He was a congressman for Northern California's 9th District. Dellums was one of 13 founding members of the Congressional Black Caucus, and he was the 48th mayor of Oakland. And then we all know this guy. Mahershala Ali. I know I did not say his name right, and I practiced too. Mahershala Ali became the first Muslim American to win an Academy Award, and his stunning role as in a supporting role in Moonlight. He's also from Oakland, or he was born in Oakland. He was raised in Hayward. He attended St. Mary's College, and where he graduated in 1996 and earned a degree in mass communication. And then we all know him as well, Ryan Coogler, film director, screenwriter, producer, also born in Oakland. He attended my alma mater, CSU Sacramento. He is most known for his groundbreaking film, Fruitvale Station, and of course, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And from my hometown, San Francisco, Mayor London Breed, born in San Francisco, attended University of San Francisco and UC Davis. She was first served as city council member and then becoming the first African-American female mayor of San Francisco. We also grew up at the same church, Third Baptist Church in San Francisco. And then for me, the guy I love to hate because he did not play for the 49ers, but Marshawn Lynch, also named Beast Mode, is an American football player, running back, who is a free agent. He's one of the smartest football players that I know of. And he is our homegrown Oakland hero. He went to UC Berkeley, go Bears. And then we have Gabriela Sarmiento Wilson, better known for her performance name, Her, or H-E-R. She is an American singer and songwriter born in Vallejo, California. And then we are all familiar with him, and I'm sure I can get some help on his bio. Daveed Diggs is an American actor, rapper, singer, songwriter, screenwriter, film producer, born in Oakland, attended Albany Middle School, and graduated from Berkeley High School. And then our queen, Kamala Harris, is an American politician, attorney. She is serving as the 49th and current Vice President of the United States. She is the United States' first female Vice President, the highest ranking female official in US history, and the first African American and first Asian American Vice President born in Oakland. Woo, woo, let's give it up for our hometown. We are the best. And so that brings me to the people that we see on a daily basis, that we hear of, that could be our neighbors, the people that run our city, run our schools. And so I want to introduce you to our panel. First, we have Ge'Nell Gary. She is the mayor of the city of Albany, originally born in Texas and arrived to California in 2008. She earned her college degree in human resources and an MBA in business management. She is, I'm sorry, I need to make the screen a little bit bigger. She is an Emerge alumni, class of 2020. Emerge is a highly respected national program to train women to run for political office. In 2019, Mayor Ge'Nell Gary was elected to the Albany City Council and was appointed as mayor. Brian Doss is our school board trustee and vice president. Born and raised in Oakland, graduated from Albany High School, graduated from St. Mary's College, worked as a counselor for the Department of Rehabilitation, elected to the Board of Education in 2018. Currently serves as a chief advocate for kids in need of advocacy. Brian established a breakfast program for our schools to ensure no student, no kid, staff goes hungry. And so thank you. Following in the footsteps of other local heroes, our Black Panthers, also started in Oakland. So next we have Melissa Boyd Esquire. I love saying Esquire behind her name. She's our newest school board trustee. Melissa is an attorney, born and raised in New Jersey, Jersey stand up, attended Princeton University, BA in politics, and minor in African studies, African American studies, and women's studies. Attended Columbia University Law School, earned her law degree and a Juris Doctorate degree. Practicing law for over 10 years, Melissa was elected to the Albany Unified School District Board of Education in 2020. She is now not only an attorney, but an elected official school board trustee. Give it up for 2020. We did some things in 2020. Last but not least, our fearless leader, Dr. Frank Wells, former teacher and Teacher of the Year recipient, former elementary, middle, and high school principal for over 18 years, former Administrator of the Year from the Association of California School Administrators, former school board member, President of the Board of Education in Hayward, Superintendent of Schools in Albany Unified School District. Dr. Frank Wells is the first Black superintendent in Albany School District, thereby making history here in our city of Albany. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You all may unmute yourselves. We do have questions from 3 students. And while I locate those questions, if you would just do a round robin, we'll just start in the order that you were introduced and say hello to the community, and let's just start talking. Just 1 second. Oh, I did not mean to unshare, but I did. Okay. I did not pull up the questions. I apologize. I have them. So I know the first question that we received was a video question, and it was from one of our elementary school students. And his question was, why did you choose to become mayor? And so I would like to share that question with the rest of the panelists so you can answer, why did you become blank? So Mayor Gary, if you would start, why did you choose to become a mayor?
All right, thank you, Linda. Thank you for having me on this panel. I'm so honored and grateful to be a part of this great group of people. Why did I choose to become mayor? Well, I started in elementary school, I'd say middle school, wanting to run for office. I had the aspiration to serve the community. And eventually through, going through school, putting myself back through college and striving for that goal, I landed here in Albany and immediately began to work. And so when I was elected to city council and then appointed as mayor, I thought it was a great opportunity to use the skill set that I brought to the table, the community passion that I have, along with just working for the community. So, for me, I thought it was a great opportunity to share my experience and also to be a part of this great community.
Thank you. And Dr. Wells, why did you choose to become an educator and eventually becoming a superintendent?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I feel very fortunate to be among so many great leaders, not only here in Albany, but their leadership extends beyond the boundaries of Albany. And so I feel honored tonight. Why did I become a superintendent here in Albany? The short answer is that I think, why did I become an educator? And that's not what I sought off to be was an educator. I wanted to be a banker. I remember growing up in San Francisco, where I was born and raised. Born in the Fillmore, raised in the Bayview Hunters Point. Have you guys ever heard of those places? And I remember going to George Washington Carver Elementary School, a school over in the neighborhood in Bayview Hunters Point, and it was an all-black school. But back then, as a quick history lesson, we have what we call busing desegregation. Any of you guys remember that? So the next day, I'm being shipped across town in a more affluent white neighborhood as a second grader, only to be greeted with a bunch of picket signs, letting them know that they didn't want people in their neighborhood that looked like me. And so fast forward, as a teenager, I met this outstanding teacher who was teaching English, and she accused me of two things that I've never really been accused of, and that was of being smart, and the other thing was being brilliant. And she put her hand on my shoulder and told me that she knew my biggest secret. And she told me she knew that I couldn't read. And so she said that was okay, and she had me stay after school every day for about 4 months, and she taught me how to read. And fast forward, I was accepted to the university next door to us, University of KALB, Berkeley. And I didn't go because at the time my mom was raising 5 kids all by herself, and I was the man in the house. And I decided to go to the military so that I can contribute to my family. Fast forward, I get out the military and I go to San Jose State, and I wanted to be a banker. And I wanted to be a banker because I wanted to be around money, and I figured if I was around money, I would never ever want for anything. But it wasn't until my junior year at San Jose State when I said, hey, I want to make a difference in the world the way Mrs. Lee did. And so I decided to become a teacher, and I became a teacher for about 8 years, and then I got into administration. I was an elementary, middle, high school principal, and then I became a director of education and moved up. And then I saw a wonderful opportunity to work here in Albany. They had a national search to get a superintendent. And so I made the final 6, had an interview on a Sunday, started at 7:30, ended at 5:30, got a call at 1:15 in the AM. And they told me that I had a job if I wanted it. And so I'm here because of the advocacy, and I want to be real clear about this, of one of our school board trustees by the name of Brian Doff, who's here with us today. And so he had an opportunity to join the board and do a number of things and to be a leader in advocating that I come here. And so this is the first time I put him on blast like that, but it was something that I think the community needs to know.
Thank you. And next up, Brian, why did you become a board trustee, a counselor for the Department of Rehabilitation, an advocate for students? What motivated you? What inspired you?
Well, the reason why I became a counselor at the Department of Rehabilitation is easy, because I saw an opportunity to help people, and there were no counselors that looked like the people who needed the most help. There were no Black male counselors in the Department of Rehabilitation. And I said, well, people are coming in and they're asking for help. It might make it easier for them to receive that help. It might make it easier to move them along in their journey if they have an opportunity to sit across the desk from somebody that looks like them. So that's what took me down that journey. My journey that brought me here to Albany as a school board member is a little different. There were some things that happened in Albany a while back, and I remember sitting with my own family and thinking to myself, what can I do as an individual to play a part in making sure that something like this doesn't happen again, or doesn't happen to my own children or kids that look like them as we move forward. And so I decided that the best way to do that would be not to sit on the sidelines and complain about how things are, but to jump into it and be a part of the solution. So with a gentle nod from our Director of Student Services, Alexia Ritchie, I decided to run for the school board. I don't know if she remembers this conversation or not, but I said, wait a minute, I don't know if I should do that. And she was like, no, you should do it. You'll be great. But what she didn't tell me is all the work that went into it, that you had to actually run an election and become an elected official and give everybody in the city your actual address. I didn't know that was a part of it. So that's what brought me to become be a member of the board, because I saw an opportunity and I wanted to be a part of the solution. As far as the breakfast program, that comes from when I was a kid. My aunt, she was not a friendly lady. She was mean, but no matter how mean she was, if you were hungry, she would feed you, no matter who you were. She would feed my worst enemy the best meal he ever had, because she just didn't believe that people should go hungry. And so when I was at the school early in the morning, because my daughter she liked being first in line, and I noticed that there was a little boy who he was hungry. And the reason why I knew he was hungry is because he was staring down my breakfast sandwich. And that's when I thought to myself, well, how can we go about making sure that something like that doesn't happen? And so I mentioned it, and we ran with it, and we were able to get it implemented at every site, and it's a wonderful thing, and I'm excited that it happened. And I do recognize that those things don't happen alone. It's a team of people that come together to make it happen. But I'm happy that we did it, and so that's kind of my journey, and I'm happy that I'm here. I do recognize that there is much more work to be done, but I'm looking at all these faces on the screen, and I know that they're all ready for it. So I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, Melissa, where do we start? What inspired you to become an attorney and then eventually an elected official?
Thank you, Linda, and thank you everybody for tuning in this evening. I wanted to be a lawyer ever since I was a child. I was one of those children, and I've actually had a child like this. So, what goes around comes around, I guess, who liked to, sort of argue for what I thought was right and really plead my case and explain it to people, and, had this sort of fire of what was appropriate and how rules should be followed and what was the right way to do various things. So it's funny because the type of law that I practice, I'm a corporate lawyer, I'm not in the courtroom making arguments and standing up and performing in that way, which I think is more what I envisioned at the time. But the forming arguments and taking them apart and explaining them to people and sort of pleading my case, that still happens. Sometimes it happens in my house. My husband sometimes is not that huge a fan of it, but anyway. And so that's how I became, or that's what first led me to want to be an attorney. As far as serving on the school board, and I see the pattern of having certain people give nudges and nods. There are some folks on the screen right now who gave some nudges my way. Perhaps without sharing how much work was going to be required. But I will say that in all seriousness, I'm honored to be able to serve on the school board. But I will say that really it was during the time of spring remote learning, when we first were starting to deal with this quarantine and COVID, which is almost a year ago, which is kind of mind-blowing. And talking to people at Marin on our diversity committee and trying to figure out what is this going to mean for all the different communities of children and all the different families and all the different concerns, and how do we try to move through this situation that is new to everyone and presented such challenges, and the importance of making sure that as many different perspectives as possible were presented when we tried to do these things that felt so huge and so difficult. And so I understood the importance of that work and the strong impact on people's lives. And as much as, you know, as a corporate lawyer, sometimes I have the opportunity to work with really wonderful new technologies and really capable entrepreneurs, and to be able to work with these companies who are bringing about all these perhaps, you know, cancer fighting drugs or different types of technologies. And so it's exciting, but to be able to actually serve in a way that felt like I could have an impact on people's lives and be able to benefit people's lives, people around me, people that I see, that felt real and immediate in a way that is different than what I have as a corporate attorney working with the sort of clients that I do. And so I thought that I could perhaps bring a unique perspective to the board, in part as a Black woman, in part due to various experiences I've had in various aspects of my identity, and also that I would hopefully always be receptive and interested in hearing all of the views and perspectives of all members of our community, but especially those who are underrepresented in various ways and who haven't necessarily had the chance to have such strong advocacy perhaps in the past. And so that was what inspired me and encouraged me to want to serve on the board. And even though it is challenging at times, and it's certainly not easy work right now, it is very rewarding, and it very much feels like an honor and a privilege to be able to serve the community in that way.
Thank you. And so we have two questions from high school students. And the first question is for Mayor Gary. What commitments does Albany have to increase Black residency in the city? And then the second part of that question is for Dr. Wells. What commitments does Albany have to increase Black enrollment in the school district?
Okay, so to answer that question, I think it's important to know that we have 3% African American here in Albany. And with that said, my goal is to, one, be an advocate for those that are homeless. I definitely want to make sure that we market ourselves properly to invite people in. You know, you think about our mission statement that says that we're this urban village, right? And that we are, diverse and inclusive. And I think it's important that the city of Albany shows that. For me, being here, I'm excited. I see many opportunities for anyone that wants to be a part of this community. However, we do know that housing is very expensive. And a lot of Black and brown people are unable to afford housing. So one of my goals, along with, city staff and council members, I would hope that we would try to bridge that gap to make opportunity available for everyone to be a part of this community, inviting Black and brown businesses to have opportunities to do business here in Albany. And so with that said, it's going to take a team. I can't do it alone, but I do know with the right drive, the right motivation, the marketing, and the open arms here in the community. I will say during my campaign and moving here to Albany, there are people here that loved on me, that opened their arms to me, and a lot of Black and brown people don't feel that way about Albany. When I say, oh, I'm mayor at Albany, and they're like, really? And so my goal is to change that perception, because there are good people here that want, diverse community. And so that's my plan. And I hope that I can encourage my city council members to be on board, which I'm sure they are. But how do we do that? It's going to take the community. It's going to take all of us to come together and open up our arms and invite people in. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Wells.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Just to repeat it, was that what can I do to bring in more African-American students into our school system? As you can see, as Mayor Gary just mentioned, that we have only 3% of our Albany population who are African-American. In our school systems, we know that in order to have great schools, you need to have some rich diversity. And that's a lesson in all folks coming together, growing up together, living together, working together, is what make America a more ideal place. One of the things that we're doing to bring more African Americans to our schools is that we currently have a recruitment campaign going on, led by one of our by our executive director, Alexia Ritchie, who's here on the panel. Can you wave at the folks, Alexia? And last year we were able to bring in about 100 students. Of the 100 students, I think about 1/4 were African American. We're targeting certain communities, ranging from Richmond to Oakland, and inviting our kids with open arms to come to our schools. And they're coming. And so we're being intentional about recruiting African American kids to join us. But there's a flip side to that as well, I think. It begs the question for me, how do we recruit African American teachers? We have 3 elementary schools. And of the 3 elementary schools, we have over 100 teachers that serve in those schools. And of the 100 teachers in this great Bay Area, in the heart of the Bay Area, where we have rich diversity, we have 0 African American teachers at the elementary. And so our goal is twofold: to recruit African American students and also to recruit African American teachers to make our community rich in diversity and to enhance the overall richness of our education community, along with our general at-large community. And so those are efforts that we have on the table right now.
Okay, thank you. And if I might add, I think that bringing more African American students or bringing in a more diverse student body will then attract more students of color, because educators like to teach students that look like them, as well as students like to learn from educators that look like them. And so that is, it's almost like that old movie, if you build it, they will come. And so, but it is something that we have to do symbiotically. We have to do it together at the same time. And so I can just speak for the Black Parent Advisory Group. We will support that effort, of course, of bringing in a more diverse student body population, and then as well as supporting the city and whatever we can do to help bring in more Black and brown businesses, which hopefully then will lead to more Black and brown residents and bring the city. Albany is a great city. It's in a great location, and it's in the middle of the Bay Area. And so let's just continue to make Albany shine and do great things. If you notice, the name of this slide is Change Makers. And I wanted to highlight you all so that you know that you're in a position to make change. And so we are counting on the four of you to help bring that change to the city of Albany.
Madam Chair, let me add to that, if I can.
Sure.
Just to illustrate a point. Before Trustee Vice President Bryant Doss became a board member, there was no African Americans on the board. And it's critically important, I think, to have African American leadership because African American leadership understands the struggle, understand the misfortune and the unfortunate opportunities that are limited to us due to all the kind of isms that we deal with, the big one being racism. When you don't have a diverse organization, the people who are recruited and get selected to be a part of a wonderful organization are people the power structure feel most comfortable with. And they don't feel comfortable with people who look like me. And so in order for me to get a fair chance to become a superintendent, there needed to be someone in a leadership and a worker position like Brian Doss, who would say, look, you guys may not be comfortable with the Dr. Frank Wells, but if he's the best candidate, our top candidate, why would you want to exclude him? And it's those kinds of conversations in a back room that happens with people like a Brian Doss. And that's just having some real talk for a moment, because it's people like him who fought to get himself in a position and then go out to not only be in that position, but also make sure that there was a hiring practice that was fair and just for all. And it wasn't about recruiting an African-American person, but it was about selecting the best candidate. And so he saw that the best candidate with the top scores in all 5 rounds was the Frank Wells. So help me understand this guy who looks like me, who's the top candidate. Why might you want to exclude him? Those are the kind of conversations that I think people need to have when we talk about the struggle with our young people and what they have to go through, that they have to be not only ready and prepared, but have to be twice as ready and double prepared. And they have to have a champion who would advocate for them. And so when you take a Brian Doss, he taps somebody like a Melissa Boyd and say, hey, Melissa Boyd, we need somebody like your intellect, your ability to be on the school board to help move this mission, to make this community not only good, but to make it great. And so it's important to tell that story, because there's a lesson in that story. And that's why it's important that we need to strive for Black excellence, not so that we can arrive, but so that we can help others have a fair and just opportunity.
Yes.
I'm gonna jump in on that real quick. I want
Okay.
to add a little bit on this conversation. I won't stay long. And not only are we recruiting people that look like us, but once we get in these positions, it would be great to have that mentorship. You know, Dr. Wells said we have to work 10 times harder. It's like we have to prove ourselves in these positions because of the nays and the isms that we have to deal with. But in all actuality, you know, we're wanting the same level playing field that everyone else has. We want to be treated the same. We want to be able to express, you know, our views and just have a seat at the table. And once we have that seat and once we're at that table, we'll be able to do the work together in the community. And that's what grows our community.
Right. Absolutely. Someone in the chat says access. That's all we want is equal access.
Absolutely.
This is a fantastic conversation, and I wish we could stay here all night and talk about it. I wanted to hear from our other 2 panelists. We have to get going. The second question, actually, Dr. Wells addressed, because the question was, how do we deal with implicit bias and racism as administrators in the city? And without even knowing the second question, you all I believe, addressed that. We do have a question in the audience. I saw someone raise their hand. And if we can allow that person to just ask their question, and whoever feels more comfortable answering that question, Brian or Melissa, please do, if it's an appropriate question for you. I don't know who, Jeremy has the controls to see who raised their hand. I don't see hand raising. I just saw someone pop their hand up. Let's see, who is it? Okay, well, maybe that was a mistake because they're not there now. Yes, Melissa. Oh, yeah, they accidentally did. No problem. Melissa, do you have one last word to say about?
Yes, I wanted to just to add an additional perspective, not in any way to take away from anything that's been said, but just to encourage Black and Brown young people, or young people who are in any underrepresented minority group. I know something about being the minority in very many spaces, from school on up to professional life. And I will say that it's not always easy. And I'm happy to give pep talks. I'm easy to find these days in Albany. I'm got a public life now, so people can reach out to me, parents, young people. Sometimes you find champions from outside of your community too. So I want young people to know, and parents of young people to know, that even if you don't see someone who looks like you in the AP class, or in the program that you're interested in pursuing, in the art program, in the science program, in whatever sport you're interested in whatever, in theater, whatever you're excited about, in the photography class, even if you don't see someone who looks like you, sometimes you just go and be you and shine your truth, and people respond to that. They respond to your authenticity and your uniqueness. And you never know who's going to be your champion and who's going to fight for you. So I don't want people to be discouraged if you walk into a room and you don't see people who look like you. And like I said, anyone ever wants to talk to me about what it is to be in those spaces, and I'm normally real careful about not trying to be arrogant in any way, but to thrive in those spaces. Anyone who wants to talk to me about that, I'm always happy to help lift our young people up.
Thank you so much.
Brenda, I got a quick question. Can we end with just Melissa, words of encouragement? Maybe just kind of give people the ins and out, or encourage students.
Yes, really quickly. We still have quite a ways to go.
Okay. Well, let's hear from Brian. I won't run the show. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Melissa. Go ahead, Brian. 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'll be really quick, and I'll say that if there's something that you want to do, you should do it, and you shouldn't allow anything to stand in the way of that. Like our trustee said, it's okay if you're the only person in the room, because that's the only way you can invite others into the room as well. And so I have always kind of followed that myself, and I encourage everybody to do that. And I will second also what Melissa said. If there's ever a time where you want to reach out and discuss or talk about anything, please reach out. Happy to talk about things and be a resource.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So our next presentation is from Marin Elementary School, second grade class. They have an art presentation to share with us. I don't know.
Alma Woodsey Thomas was born in Columbus, Georgia in 1891. She grew up surrounded by lush landscapes and beautiful plants. She took her first art class in high school and loved it. She also enjoyed working with children and pursued year in teaching kindergarten. She taught art and crafts for several years before attending Howard University. She was the first student in Howard's brand new arts department. Bye! Her art was inspired by nature and is most famous for her paintings with tiny bright rectangles and repeating shapes. In 1972, when she was 81 years old, Alma's paintings were exhibited at the Whitney Museum of American Art. This was the first ever solo exhibition of an African American woman artist at one of America's most important art museums. Alma is truly a testament to being dedicated to the thing that you love and having patience to let it grow.
I'm muted. That was wonderful. Thank you, Marin, second grade students. That was a fantastic job. Your artwork was beautiful. And just to think that you learned that on Zoom, that is incredible. The power of what our kids can do when they are pushed to do great things. They always never cease to amaze us and surprise us. And so thank you so much for your contribution. Next is our middle school students presenting a video, and this piece is called Young and Gifted Black Excellence, because that is what they are giving us this evening. So let's hear it for Albany Middle School Black Alliance students.
I'm using a size 5, but you can use whatever size ball you want, just preferably a soccer ball. Okay, so you want to start out with your dominant foot. Your dominant foot is basically a foot to a strong foot, so it's really easy. You can tie your hand right here, big enough like your dominant foot. So my dominant foot is my right foot. Okay, so you want to sit up, get comfortable with the you're going to just drop, catch, drop, catch it. Drop, catch, drop, catch, drop, catch. So fast. Okay. Then you try it. Drop, catch, drop, catch, drop, catch. Yeah. Drop, catch, drop, catch. Hi, my name is Nina, and today I'll be showing you how to properly hit a volleyball. So first you need to get a volleyball, of course, and then you have to put your hand out. And you have to put your hands together. And there's 2 ways. I was taught how to do it. The first way was you take one hand out, you put the other one on top. You do this. Or you could make one a fist and put the other one around it, like this. And then the way I prefer is this way. But either way is fine. But another thing you have to make sure is you have to make sure your thumbs are always parallel to each other. And one is not more out than the other. And then you also have to make sure your arms are flat, so you have a nice flat platform, and your arms are straight as well. And you also have to make sure your knees are bent. I will show you an example. And yeah, that is how you bump a volleyball. So if you're on any kind of social media, you might have heard of this specific trend going around where everyone does their take on a specific tomato pasta dish. And I'm going to show you how I make it, and I'm going to do a more in-depth video to teach you how to do it. So the first thing you want to do is you want to set your oven to 375. Mine's preheating right now. And then you want to take some tomatoes and put them in a pan and just cover them with olive oil. Okay, I realized I said pan, but I meant dish. Same thing. Okay, and next, what you want to do is you want to take some salt and pepper, and you want to cover it. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention too is that feta cheese is already kind of salty, so you don't want to do too much salt. Next thing you want to do is you want to make a place center for your feta cheese. Okay, it should look like this, but usually people use a block of feta cheese, but this is all they had, so it works the same. I did some chopped garlic now in the oven for 20 minutes. It's about to go in the oven, and I was going to say that you could add whatever other seasonings you like too, so if you like garlic powder, if you like more pepper than usual, or whatever you like. Ooh, okay, so for the pasta type, you can really use any type that you like. I like this kind personally, and you just boil it with the directions on the back, but most people already know how to boil pasta, and yeah, then you wait for, I don't know what to say, but you just wait till the tomatoes are done, and then you add it in. Okay, my pasta's still boiling, and the tomatoes are ready, so I'm gonna take it out. Oh my. Okay, what? It's so stupid. What you want to do is you want to take a fork and smash the tomatoes and mix it in with the feta cheese until it looks a certain consistency. Okay, everything's mixed. It's all done. You can add whatever fresh garnishes you like or whatever other seasoning.
So this is our audition for the Black Panther 2. So this is the audition for the Black Panther 2 filming. We shot AMS, and I think this would be a great place for the ceremonies, because there's not a lot of people in here now, but it has an energy to it. We have some water fountains and a bottle water filler. We have saved 0 bottles, so we actually learn other world languages. We learn them by drawing foods on the walls. So these are our masterpieces, and these over here, these are historical artifacts and artwork. So we know Wakanda is very technologically advanced. So we have here a science classroom. It has tables, chairs for all the tables. There are some spots that don't have the chairs, but we have some chairs. So the field could be a perfect place for the final battle, and over here, those could be the audience stands during the tournament, when the tournaments for the movie. And, these can be removed with CGI, I guess. So I'm going to show them how big the field is, but is there anyone else that can? No? Okay. Okay, I'm going to show you how big the field is myself. I have to run back. Okay. It's a perfect place to film the movie because it's so peaceful. So AMS is a perfect place to film Black Panther 2. And we think that it's not crowded at all right now. And so we are waiting to hear back from you.
In the 1980s, anime, a type of Japanese animation created by Shimakawa Oten, went mainstream in Japan, and the popularities in animes such as Dragon Ball Z and Gundam skyrocketed. In the 1990s, anime became popular in the US. Since then, anime has only become more popular. In this short video, I will be teaching you how to analyze anime, but to tell the good animes from the bad ones. Now, the difference between good animes and bad animes are formula genres. Examples include Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. A lot of people find this comforting, the same thing every time. Fight, get stronger, get their butt kicked, level up, and beat them. And that's a big reason why these shows are so popular. Everybody knows what the outcome will be, nothing ever changes. Although I'm not saying that these shows are bad, it's important to broaden your horizons and try new animes and genres. Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach all fall under the category of shonen anime. This genre aims at audiences ages 12 to 18 and is focused on a male hero. Shonen focuses on fighting, action, and saving the world. The exact opposite of shonen is shoujo, which focuses on a main female protagonist. The shoujo genre is all about romance and coming of age. If you want to mix it up a little and combine shonen with shoujo, I would recommend the anime Yona the Dawn, Murder Princess, and Inuyasha. Another notable anime genre is isekai anime. Isekais revolve around an ordinary person being transported/reincarnated into another world. Isekai animes have a good mix of action, adventure, and romance. Although you could argue that it has formula genres,
Some of them are really unique. A good example of a unique isekai is, remember that time I got reincarnated as a slime, or Tetsura for short. Instead of being reincarnated as a human, the main protagonist is reincarnated as a slime. The show is funny and lighthearted, and a good pick for any anime newcomer. Other good isekai animes are The Devil's a Part-Timer, Sword Art Online, The Saga of Tanya the Evil, Restored to Another World, and In Another World with My Smartphone. Good shoujos are My Next Life as a Villainess, Fruits Basket, Our Love Has Always Been 10 centimeters apart, good anime, even if it's silly, and Kimi ni Chidoke, Me to You. Fairy Tail is also a good pick if you like shonen anime. Okay, so I've covered the difference between good animes and bad animes, and the best animes for newcomers, and the history of anime. So the last thing I want to talk about is racism in anime. It is a lot more common than you might think. Examples of racist black stereotypes. Mr. Popo from Dragon Ball Z with his pitch black skin and stupidity. Killa from Dragon Ball Z with his big lips. Jinx from Pokemon, blonde hair and black skin. And Chocolate of McDonald's, everything from the Shaman King. Sister Crone is somewhere in the middle. Even if she is evil and her appearance is stereotypical, she dies protecting the kids. Lack of diversity in Japanese anime writing is a serious problem that needs to be addressed. However, in all fairness, there are strong black characters in anime. Axel from Sword Art Online, Canary from Hunter x Hunter, and Huey, Riley, and Jasmine from the Boondocks. And even if she is a villain, Emerald from Ruby is really cool, to name a few. I'd like to point out the marginalization of the faunus in Ruby. The faunus being discriminated and marginalized as a race just for the way they looked. Sure, animal ears and fish tails are kind of weird, but there's no reason to kill them or discriminate against them. Another thing, afros. They always make their hair puff up and frizz, and I find this really racist and annoying. The Japanese society is lacking in general, and it is my hope that as they experience more of our culture, they'll see the beauty and strength in it, and put that into anime and manga. Now I would like to give a few honorable mentions. The Boondocks for being the first real black anime, and the newest black anime, Black Sands. Support your local black business today. R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman, Wakanda forever. Killmonger was the real hero of my story. This has been How to Analyze Anime.
That was awesome. Thank you, Albany Middle School Black Alliance. You guys rock. And I don't know if anyone out there watches those YouTube videos where they critique certain TV shows and anime and all of that. But that young lady, she just did exactly what I watch. Well, I don't watch it. My husband watches it, but I listen. And she sounded better than those guys that are on YouTube critiquing TV shows and, you know, Game of Thrones and all the movies and telling you about all the ins and outs of everything. So I will watch your YouTube show. Just let me know when you produce it. All right. So it keeps doing that. So next we have our Albany High School Black Student Union. They produced a wonderful video, and I can't wait to share it with you.
Hi, my name is Stacey Kamau, and I am the president of the Black Student Union at Albany High School. This is our contribution to the celebration of Black Excellence and Black History Month. We hope you enjoy. Hi, we are BSU, and we are going to be saying a poem by Fatima Iman called Ode to My Dark Skin. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. That may sound cliche, but darn, it's the truth.
There were times that I hated you, debated you, ashamed of you. I look back now with thinking, man, how I was fooled. Found this dark skin a curse. Mainstream media is the worst.
Programmed fair skin commodity that I needed like a brand new purse. To prance around town like a clown, I found no reason to be proud. I walked with sagged shoulders and my head was kept down.
I've used you using creams. Your true beauty I couldn't see. Tear come to eyes. Could you ever forgive me?
You were never the one to blame. I was the one who brought you shame. Allowed the words of color-struck Negroes to hit me and turn you away.
You are the symbol of Black strength, Queen Nefertiti back in the flesh. Your blackness wraps tightly around me, just like a freedom dress.
Puts me on top of my game, turn my back on all the lames. Look who now ego tripping, and you're the only one to blame.
I'm covered in Matsugovia. Sweet chocolate, I'm on fire. No, I'm not cocky, I'm confident. I laugh when they say you shouldn't be desired.
How dare they identify you with ugliness? I guess stupidity must be contagious. What you're made with can't be debated. You're closer to gold, and that can't be tainted.
Never ever leave me alone. Always bless me with your kisses. 'Cause the blacker, the sweeter the juice.
And you are what I was blessed with.
Yes, students, yes. Wonderful. Our next presentation is a very good friend of my daughter's, and thus she has become part of our family. And I have wanted this young woman to share her knowledge and inspiration with our students, with the Albany community for some time, and I was finally able to get her to be a part of this program. Her name is Janea Griffin. She is the commercializer, a strategy consultant, serial entrepreneur, an advocate for intellectual property ownership, inclusive innovation, social justice, and generational wealth, specifically within underserved communities. With a deep passion for serving others, Janea advises aspiring entrepreneurs, universities, and small businesses, including formerly incarcerated individuals, on building wealth by monetizing their talents and intellectual assets. So young people, you will hear from Miss Griffin in just a moment, but I want you to pay attention to what she has to say, because when we say that we have inventions and we want a seat at the table and we want to get our patents out there and copyrighted and our inventions out there in the market, this is the person that you need to have on your team. And so without further ado, Janea Griffin.
Me. My name is Janea Griffin, and I am Black. Yes, Black. Now, before you say, well, Janea, that doesn't make any sense, I'm going to say, just bear with me, and it will soon. So before I take you down this road to explain how someone can be Black, I would like to thank the Black Parents Advisory Group for having me, and Ms. Linda for extending this invitation for this opportunity to share my thoughts with you on what is Black excellence. And it's also an honor to present at this virtual mic as we begin to recognize and define our own definitions of Black excellence. I like to be interactive, so throughout this talk, I will be asking questions to help us to see Black excellence through a different lens. My comments will be candid and honest because, hey, this is what we need in order to move the Black agenda forward. So, we've all read the articles, right? Seen the news stories and have all witnessed Black trailblazers achieve accomplishments in every sector, industry, and communities across the country. We all have witnessed our own personal stories of how family members and friends have beat the odds to defy history. 2020 alone has shown the many firsts that have been recorded within the Black community. Honestly, there really is no need to repeat the obvious with the same old numbers, data, or historical leaders. No offense to Dr. King and them. Today, we are here for a different mission, though. To truly see ourselves in the same Black excellence we so easily bestow upon the role models in which we grew up learning from. So let's get into it, shall we? To many, excellence is a subjective noun. But to our ancestors, excellence was never a choice. We were born with excellence pumping through our veins, so much so that the blood of our ancestors is what actually built this entire country and its wealth, literally and figuratively. Now, let's think about that for a second. We, Black people, once owned as property, were how people actually amassed and measured their wealth. So our very existence today is actually quantifiable. Outside of wealth contributions, the literal blood flowing through us is what has contributed to the greatest medical discoveries and innovations of our time. Hey, Henrietta Lacks. So, what is Black excellence? Is it celebrity status? Is it millions of likes and followers? Is it fame? Lots of money? No. Is it dependent on background or circumstance, like what school you graduated from, or what side of the tracks you live on, or the type of car you drive, or having a car at all? No. Is it the types of clothes you wear, the way your hair is done, the type of house you live in? Again, no. Black excellence is many things, but one of the best ways Black excellence can be defined is as a mindset. When you can align your mindset with that of excellence, you can change your perceptions of how it manifests in your life. And in order to understand that perspective, you must first understand how it currently shows up in this world, as not only a mindset, but as a way of living, a way of moving, and a way of impacting. Black excellence is all around us. All we have to do is stop and look and acknowledge. So, again, what is Black excellence? Black excellence is pyramid building. Black excellence is almanac creating. Black excellence is traffic light stopping. Black excellence is richest man to ever walk this earth, Mansa Musa living type of people. It isn't just what you see on TV with celebrities and what is portrayed in the media with accomplishments of Black stars. It's also about the people that keep this country moving. The Black voters who advocate and help shape our policies. The Black people that keep our community growing, like the local business owners selling food at farmers markets. The truck drivers that move our food and supplies so we can eat. The teachers that educate us and the generations to come. The school principals and counselors. The nurses and doctors that keep us alive and healthy. The trash man that transports our garbage to clean up our waste. The coaches that help the youth grow to be leaders. The mail delivery workers who keep our economy thriving, even through a pandemic. Trust me when I say this, not all superheroes wear capes. And so Black excellence can't just be seen, it has to be experienced. Intentionality in its purest form, with every action we take, every step we make. To be intentional as a Black person is to be excellent. It's not something we have control over, because when we put our mind to it, everything comes easy. Black excellence is you, myself, and all those Black folks around us helping to make this community, this world, a success. My beautiful Black sister, Tracy Rogers, would say, it is in the way Black organizers and activists continue to fight for criminal justice reform in a country where the rate of incarceration for Black people is 5 times more than that of white people. 5. It is in the insistence that Black lives matter when the risk for being killed by police is more prevalent for Black people. It is through our cultural contributions, music, fashion, the arts, our hair, our style, our dances on TikTok, too often appropriated for their excellence. It is the ability to thrive in a country with racist ideas encoded into its rule of law, and where the average white person's wealth is 41 times more than the wealth of a Black person's. But yet and still, we rise. With Black excellence being a mindset, it is something that many struggle with, especially since it has always been tied to a narrative that in order to attain success and have a seat at the table, Black people have to work twice as hard. And if you're a Black woman, well, don't get me started. It's the hardships Black people have defied and the accomplishments Black people have achieved. But what if you haven't experienced either of those? Or what if you think you haven't experienced either of those? If it is something to be experienced and not just seen, how can we be Black excellence when we don't feel excellent at times? When we feel beat up, when we feel tired and unaccomplished, how is any of this excellence? Yes, I may be Black, but excellent? How? That imposter syndrome may start to seep in. I am not Black excellence. I am just Black. Stop it. For centuries, they have tried to hide the fact that the excellence that seeps from our veins was inferior. Here's what they don't want you to know. Being Black is synonymous with excellence. Did you know you come from a lineage of kings and queens, of scholars and mathematicians, of inventors and astronomers, of people who people traveled from all across the globe to learn from? So when we say Black excellence, we are basically saying we're Black or excellent, once for ourselves and once for our ancestors, because we picked up the torch that they passed us. We must realize we are currently living through history. It's unfolding before our eyes, creating it every day that we wake up, when we open our eyes and take our first breaths. And really understand that to be Black in America is to protest against the injustices that happen to our people on a daily, even if you don't see them. That protest, it looks like voting. That protest, it looks like advocating for what is right. That protest, it looks like getting to class on time and doing your homework every single night. That protest, it looks like listening to our parents, taking the trash out and doing your chores. That protest looks like loving on our friends and families and neighbors, treating each other with respect and dignity. That protest looks like reading books and coding and owning, yes, ownership. It looks like taking responsibility when necessary. It looks like protecting Black women. It looks like protecting Black people, period. That blood flowing through your veins as you live your life and do your part in your community and the world is all the excellence we will ever need in order to keep consistently showcasing our Blackness or our excellence. Even though it is apparent that history and institutional racism has shaped our testimonies and skill sets for centuries, we continue to break barriers in spite of. History has shown that when we are challenged, we overcome. When we are set back, it is for a setup. This is what Black excellence is. Black excellence is making historical contributions that benefit society despite facing constant resistance from institutional racism. It's emotional. It's traumatic, but it's beautiful. It's something done with future generations in mind. It is fully actualizing the American dream for not only yourself, but for those around you. It is using your mindset to overcome anything put in your way to lift up your people and those in the future to come. To be okay with planting seeds for a tree in which you will never enjoy the shade of. So I'll ask you, what challenges have you experienced that can help you create new abilities and skills that you will be able to use in the future to build for future generations? As a confident Black woman in the STEM field, the cards are stacked against me, and that can be defeating and hindering at times. However, instead of painting this grim narrative from my personal testimony, I started to think differently on how to use this experience to enhance my skills to ensure that my Black excellence tribe benefited from various programs and services. We must know how to pivot, network, and strategize better with each other to support our community, not just in the classroom, but in every room. This is what helps our definition of Black excellence transform institutional agendas that prolong our progress. We will no longer be intimidated by the same game that has hindered our wins for centuries. We know this game very well, and we must bring a renewed mindset to tackle these issues head on and as a unified front. So, how will you showcase your Blackness, your Black excellence? I am currently a seasoned professional in the commercialization and intellectual property industry. Those are fancy words for I help Black innovators make money off of their great products, services, and ideas. My focus is currently on helping to strengthen the HBCU ecosystem in these key areas. Why? Well, for decades, inventions and products have been stolen from us and have helped to build family legacies for folks that look nothing like us. So, as I work with young Black leaders across the country, it feels wonderful to witness the inventive and entrepreneurial spirit of this generation. However, none of this matters if we don't understand and embrace the importance of ownership, which is how I do my part, by teaching this. Why, you ask? Well, ownership has always been the root cause of long-term wealth and access to capital for Black people, regardless of zip code, education level, and industry. And remember, we were once owned. So as a result, I address these issues in my professional career with determination, as I teach professionals how ownership can transform their goals and take back their rights to create a lasting legacy and generational wealth. So now I want to encourage you to do the same. Obviously, not in the exact same way, but in the same capacity. Take on your goals and community interests with a level of tenacity that examines the true root cause of any problem, specifically within your neighborhood or community. We owe this to ourselves and to the Black excellence movement. These problems that keep coming back find their roots in education, racial criminal justice reform, inside of classrooms, gyms, neighborhoods, businesses, and politics. You know why? Because we let it. Once we address the foundational causes of our historical challenges, this will become the blueprint for maintaining Black excellence. You just need to do your part. And remember, it takes a village. As I close out, I want you to think about how we are supporting our communities individually and what you can be doing better or focusing on to ensure that we are positively impacting with our actions. Remember, intentionality. Our Black unified power sets trends, makes headlines, and generates millions for corporations and entertainment. So a personal commitment I have made to Black excellence is in supporting returning citizens by helping them succeed in the marketing industry through a company I co-founded called Concreates. Criminal justice reform is another key issue that I am addressing to help strengthen the broad Black ecosystems. What do you wish to change within your neighborhood or community? Moving forward, I hope this talk has served as a motivational moment to uphold and progress the Black excellence movement. Make sure now, when you walk into every room, you do it with an armor of confidence. And know we have always triumphed in every decade of history. This is the time for collective action and a new mindset to do our parts in supporting Black legacy in the land we built for generations to come. We are Black, and don't ever let anyone tell you different. Thank you.
Whew, yes, I love that. Janaea she is incredible. So that, I'm trying to get my mouse to cooperate with me. Just 1 second. Okay, so this brings us to the close of our wonderful celebration. I hope that you all enjoyed that. And I want you to know that this program was intentional. We wanted to communicate with young people out there that whatever it is that you want to do, that there is a pathway for you to do it, and that there are people that have come before you that have paved the way for you to create and innovate and be whoever it is that you want to be, when right now. You don't have to wait till you grow up. You can start whatever it is that you want to do, whatever your passion is, you can start it right now. And that can be your career, that could be your lifelong love that you do. So we wanted to inspire you tonight, and so I hope that you feel inspired. We have a very important message. We do not want you to leave just yet. You will like this message. At the end of every Black History Month program, we always provide a meal, and I want you to stay so you can hear this announcement from Miss Ritchie and Miss West.
Thank you, President Williams. And actually, we were thinking of food for the town hall event, which actually, if I could talk that up just a little bit. But first, I'd like to acknowledge and thank our Black Parent Advisory Group President, Linda Williams. In a nutshell, you've been here since the beginning. You were the glue that put all of this together tonight. And this is our 6th annual Black History Month program. I've been in the district now for 28 years, and I'm proud to say that I'm on your team. Speaking of teammanship, though, we need more folks to step into the game. So our next Black Parent Advisory Group meeting is going to be on March 4th from 5 to 6. We meet monthly. We organize these events as well as organizing outreach activities to our community. Please see our Albany Unified School District's website for that Zoom link. And finally, I'd like to wrap it up with an appeal for folks who want to contribute to the next generation. Did you know that the Black Parent Advisory Group has a scholarship fund? And last year we were able to offer 2 $250 scholarships to well-deserving graduates from Albany High School. If you are interested in contributing to those noble efforts, we invite you then to email us, and Ms. Colette, our Vice President, if you could tell us one more time what that email address is, we'll be able to get back to you immediately with some information and opportunities for you to join our efforts tonight. But my hat's off to everybody here, but in particular then, our President Williams.
Thank you, thank you. I could not do this without all of you. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you. Thank you everyone for being here this evening. Colette.
Well, all has been said. Thank you for joining us this evening. It's been awesome to hear from all of Albany Unified School District levels, from the primary to the middle to the high school. We were inspired. I can't wait to do some more art and play soccer and volleyball. And I enjoyed the PhD and the anime, relationships to racial inequities and visual art. It was amazing to hear that we need to continue to be Black and do our part and to improve our community and uplift Black excellence. So as you adjust your crown tonight, we enjoyed you, and I hope you enjoyed the Black excellence that you saw this evening, and thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Was there an announcement about food? No. Okay.
We're looking at that for the town hall. We invite everybody to participate during our town hall in April. Please again, check our website for more information.
Yes, and our town hall, we are planning to continue with this theme of Black excellence by the theme for our town hall, or the topic for our town hall that will be in April. We'll be focusing on college and career pathways, particularly highlighting HBCUs. And the young woman you just saw speaking is a graduate from Grambling State University, which is a HBCU in Louisiana. We will have a panel of Black graduates, some college students, some recent graduates, to talk to you about how they got to where they are, what they went through, how they got through high school, how to get to college, the whole 9 yards. So stay tuned, and we will see you at our next meeting, March 4th.
March 4th, 5 o'clock.
Yes. March 4th. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.